Today we're looking at Dynasty trades. We're looking at some players and their value in Dynasty Fantasy Football to help you determine what you want to do with them. Buy, sell, hold, trade, keep, FOMO, whatever you want. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're talking Dynasty every day. Rookie drafts are going to be popping off. You're going to want to know those values. You want to know what these players are doing. You want to guess the values going forward. We try to do that here too. Click that button, stop missing out. But we're starting off with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry. Tight end 33, keep trade cut. ADP kind of low as well. Market's like, 9.1 points per game. Multiple green candlesticks in production. Tight end 1 weeks is what I'm talking about. 6.1 targets per game. Pushing 10 targets in a lot of games with 9 or so. And a lot of them. And he's going to be getting the rock this year. If you're looking for a stable tight end on the cheap, here you go. Here you go. Not just tight end 1 weeks, because that sometimes means nothing, but double-digit games. Tight end 2 weeks of pushing 9.5, and his down games are down games. It's the tight end position. They're just big Wan'Dale Robinsons out there. That being said, a 20.8% target share in 8 out of 7. Wan'Dale Robinson. Just huge. Route participation rate, 80%. We're top 10 in a lot of categories. A lot of them. And the volume's what matters here for him. We should be getting a good target share. There's no investment here to make. He's cheap. If you're looking for a cheap tight end to make a deal with, if you're ponying picks, moving back, trying to get something in return or whatever, maybe a target for you to help your team. Maybe a target that will help you win a game or two this year. Maybe a guy that can help you for a year or so. Contract-wise, we got to see what they're going to do here. After 2025, they got to make a decision with Hunter Henry. But if he's still gelling well with Drake May, why not? Why not? I do not see him liquid in leagues. Like, a lot of people FOMO Drake May, which means they got to FOMO the pass catchers. If they had him and they used him, they're like, hey, I got a guy. I can really focus on other positions of need. I'm not going to give him away for really nothing in return. But there's some other leagues where guys aren't really paying attention or care or emotionally invested. So you got to shoot your shot. That's life. That's life. And he's in no man's land right now when it comes to rankings, ADP, keep trade cut, whatever it is. Again, we do not use that as concrete. However, we use that as a gauge. We use that as a creative point to help us get our deals done. But Alvin Kamara is an old man. Listen to some podcast saying, hey, he's got to go. But it's been like that for the last couple years now, and I think Dynasty gamers have caught on, like saying, hey, we're going to hold this guy and we're going to ride it out. We know what we got here. We're just going to ride it out, see what happens. It's not like I'm going to sell him for RB24 like he is an ADP, like he is in keep trade cut. Like, we're not going to get that coming back. However, what we're going to get coming back is potential to run a lot of routes, a lot of opportunities, some RB1 weeks. Again, a little bit lower on the season, but 19 points per game. Still okay. Still okay. If you're in it to win it, then you're going to enjoy the production. If not, then maybe you try and get into this running back class, take whatever hit on value, and just take it. If you're skeptical, then do that now. Do that now, because they're going to bring in another running back sooner than later. They've already tried with Kendre Miller. They hate him. They hate Kendre Miller. But opportunity share 6th among running backs. Yards created 9th. So we got some opportunity here to still be good. He's still being good on the field. Top 10, top 5 in a lot of categories. Receiving yards, receptions, fantasy points per game, expected fantasy points per game. Carries 17 among running backs, but he's getting opportunities through targets. We're running a lot of routes. We're getting a lot of opportunity. I mean, we're not the same Alvin Kamara from years ago, but compared to other running backs, we're trading pretty good. 4.2 yards per carry. We're getting volume in the receiving game, which is what we like and what we like for fantasy. He's here for a good time, not for a long time. Nobody's going to argue that. Tyrone Tracy is a running back being talked about on podcasts as a potential sell candidate. So I'll give you all the angles right here. You got a young running back with a lot of pop, with an offense here that's looking to retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call that. They do not have much draft capital sunk in on him. And now we're looking at the deepest running back class of all time. Any starting running back could get it. So there's a chance we go through this draft and go unfazed. They do have to build the offensive line. They do have to add talent there. And there's other positions of need. Tyrone Tracy, though, He could see serious competition with a 6th round pick in this year's class. That could happen. They were out on Devin Singletary pretty quickly. So it's a gamble either way. It's a gamble either way, but he's going to come into the 2025 season as the man, being hot, as the incumbent. So if you're playing redraft here with your running back and someone's trying to sell him off, just trying to get him out because they've heard something, maybe you take that gamble, maybe not. That's up to you because no one knows. No one knows. But making the move now is the cheap move now, trying to get it. However, his stock will drop, and you can buy in if you like him still if they bring in another running back too. That could potentially happen. I look for him to be the man going into the 2025 season unless they pay up for a running back. They got to pick early in the 2nd round, and the position wells are very weird. Early in the 2nd round, late 1st round, where teams can pivot, make a sexy pick, or they decide to trade up and try to get that meat and potatoes player. That being said, Tyrone Tracy, I believe we're at a fork in the road here when it comes to value. I want to know what you're thinking too, because you can't be too scared of the draft where you're just making picks because you think the sky's falling, but still you want to be protected. Looking at what he did last year, we're okay. 23rd in evaded tackles, yards created 23rd, routes ran 12th, so we're used a good bit in the passing game. We're looking at a former wide receiver. He's electric in space. He can make plays happen. Opportunity share is okay. Remember, we start off sharing the backfield a little bit. We got nicked up a little bit. Tyrone Jones, Devin Singletary. What I see here is the back end of this depth chart getting filled out. That's what I see here. Just upgrading Eric Gray, Dante Miller. Just upgrading there. However, that upgrade is tremendous competition for the future. That's what I'm saying. That could potentially happen later in the draft. RB23 price tag. That's priced okay and appropriately here. And where we're at is in a position where it's not no man's land or anything, but it's a considerable spot where you're catching a running back at an okay spot. Like if he does not get dinged through the draft, you got him on the cheap. If he does, how much farther will his value tank? It would be a good buying opportunity, but how much will it tank? Josh Downs. Nobody's talking about him, mainly because we're looking at free agents. But the quarterback position now, Danny Dimes, Anthony Richardson, Josh Downs has been a hitter. Injury history throughout his college days up till now. That being said, 13.1 points per game, but 4 upside weeks as we see there. This is a wide receiver that could deliver in production, and you're catching him at wide receiver 41. He does not have to be part of your base. He doesn't have to be part of that. You can just use him intermittently, play in the matchups, and be okay, especially when they're running hot in the passing game in the appropriate matchups, and you know you're going to get good production out of him. That's something to look at here. Cheap wide receiver here. Cheap guy right now. Nobody's really talking him up. Again, he's a good, productive Wan'Dale Robinson. 25% target share, ADOT 6.9. Short ADOT, lots of targets, which suggests volatility, but he's also in positions to make plays happen, get touchdowns. He's getting a good volume in the passing game. He's earned it. He's come back from injuries and coming in and just getting the targets. Straight up. That's a good thing. Target separation, top 25. Everything's looking good. When he's on the field, he's dealing. He's looking solid, and the price tag's very palatable. You're looking at where he's being valued at. Very palatable price tag. So one thing to strategize with Josh Downs, think about him as a wide receiver, and if you're in the middle of tiers here where you're like, I don't want to make that pick, maybe you can make a move for a wide receiver like this. Strategize like that. Get your tiers in order, and they're on you and what you want to value. Maybe you can get a player like this in the draft, move around, do something, move up, do something, sell him to move up. Maybe get your tiers in order, see what you want to do. But this is a pivotal player that has very liquid value here that can be moved in Dynasty leagues. James Cook. James Cook, RB11 right now, 15.7 points per game. We're looking at his value. It's up there. It's up there. Pushing top 10 running back status. Looking at what he did last year. A opportunity share, top 25. Target share, a little bit low compared to running backs at 8.1%. Yards created, 25th among running backs here. Let me know what you think about him, because a lot of his fantasy points buoyed by touchdowns. He had 16 of them, 1,009 yards, but almost 5 yards per carry. So we were turning it out. We also had some big moments last year. We got Ray Davis here. We brought back Ty Johnson. That's huge. That's huge for James Cook going into 2025. That stabilizes him and makes this draft less of a threat. I say less because they can still bring in another running back. They brought in 2 running backs last year. I think one's a UDFA, but he was a UDFA of consequence. Ray Davis looked good. I look for him to push back Ray Davis until something happens, like an injury or something. The value's up there. The value is up there. Is this the time to move on, though? If I'm a win-now team, I'm loving this. I'm enjoying the production. If I'm a rebuilding team, this might be your piece to spread out your assets. Spread out your assets, get into the draft, get another player, move around a little bit, see what you can do, but he might not be liquid on the market either. James Cook is at a pivotal point where he's probably going to hold value or drop. I don't see him getting to like RB5 territory when it comes to value, especially when you're looking at this running back class. I look for him to be a little bit down pick-wise because these running backs are strong. People are going to FOMO the rookies a little bit. When you look at him at RB11, you're going to have to be very creative with him one way or another. But if I'm win-now team, I ain't looking the other way. I got a running back who's established, who's going to get touches and workload, who excelled in 2025. But those are some moves to make right now in your league. Some guys to look at. We'll have more coming at you. Let me know what you think in comments below. As always, hit that subscribe button right now, or you're going to lose your rookie drafts. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.